At my husband's party, after we shared the news of my pregnancy, Kayla tried to cause trouble, but it completely backfired, and now she's facing legal issues and a divorce. I'm 29 years old and have been married to my husband, Harry, for 7 years. There's so much I love about our marriage, but one thing I can't stand is the constant negativity brought by his sister, Kayla. Initially, I had a positive view of her when I first met her, but over time, my perspective changed drastically. She turned out to be manipulative, toxic, and filled with negativity. For years, I've done my best to avoid upsetting her, knowing how difficult she can be. In the past, when Harry was 17, he dated SIL's best friend, but they broke up because he felt pressured by SIL to stay in the relationship. When Harry turned 23 and was single again, SIL insisted he should be with another one of her friends, but he refused. They had a huge argument, and SIL went to their parents, complaining that Harry should marry someone she approved of. However, their parents didn't really take her side. When Harry and I met and fell in love, his parents were very supportive of our relationship. But SIL, on the other hand, kept treating me coldly. She would often bring up Harry's exes, mentioning how well they were doing and suggesting he should reconnect with them. This behavior made Harry uncomfortable, and he asked her multiple times to stop, but it only made her angrier. She started mocking me, accusing me of being jealous and insecure. Whenever his parents invited us for dinner, SIL would bring along one of Harry's exes, claiming it was by chance. She'd always say it was just out of politeness, but we all knew it was intentional. She would also obsessively check my Instagram, even though she didn't follow me. I noticed she was always the first one to view my stories. If a guy commented on one of my posts, she would complain to Harry, accusing me of posting inappropriate pictures. We found it laughable. When Harry and I decided to move in together, she urged him to break up with me, claiming I wasn't good enough for him and that she could find someone better. That hurt, as I had always been kind to her. But things only worsened when we got engaged. When we shared the news, everyone was happy for us, but Kayla was silent. She abruptly left our party, to everyone's surprise. Later, she called Harry, crying, claiming that she should have been told first about the engagement, as she thought they were the closest. Then, she sent me a bizarre message, almost threatening, telling me to be a good wife to Harry since she had always been the only woman in his life. It was so strange that I didn't even respond, leaving the message unread, which I'm sure only angered her more. After that, she started to ignore me completely. For some reason, she still involved herself in all the wedding preparations, even attending dress shopping and my bridal shower. Her criticism of the wedding reached new heights, openly disapproving of my choices, despite both my fiancé and mother-in-law telling her to stop. One day, while I was discussing the centerpiece with my mother-in-law, Kayla overheard and mocked my choice, saying it had no class and that Harry should have married someone better. That was the last straw. I screamed at her, telling her I couldn't take her constant negativity anymore, and made it clear that she was no longer invited to our wedding. Kayla was stunned, and my mother-in-law supported me. Later, she reached out to Harry, complaining about being embarrassed and insisting that he should control me. Harry stood firm and told her that if she didn't apologize, she wouldn't be coming to our wedding. Reluctantly, she sent me an apology, but I left it unread. By that point, I was already exhausted with the drama. She did show up at the wedding, though, because I didn't want her to spread rumors about us later. Our wedding had a theme of pink and pastels, which everyone followed, except for Kayla. She showed up in a black floor-length gown, as if attending a funeral. We were all shocked. She went around telling people she was mourning the loss of her brother to another woman. During the reception, Harry noticed I was uncomfortable with her outfit and confronted her about it. She tried to play the victim, saying she could wear whatever she wanted and accusing me of being too controlling. Eventually, my mother-in-law and father-in-law asked her to leave when she wouldn't stop causing a scene. It was humiliating for me, and since then, I've stayed away from her. When I had our son, Nate, I made it clear that I didn't want Kayla anywhere near him. She tried to fight it, but Harry and his parents understood my reasons and supported me. They respected my decision. 2 years ago, Kayla experienced a miscarriage, and we felt for her. Harry and I, having a child already, were sympathetic, and after the miscarriage, we decided to be more forgiving. We invited her to spend time with Nate, and surprisingly, she was kind to him. At first, it seemed like she had changed, but soon enough, she reverted to her old ways. She constantly complains about her life, blaming everyone else for her problems, and always tries to get others to sympathize with her by playing the victim. I've noticed that in her mind, she is never wrong and rarely admits fault in any conflict. This year, Kayla decided to get married and invited everyone except us. Harry was taken aback when he found out that we weren't invited, especially since our relationship seemed to be stronger than hers. When we confronted her about the exclusion, she claimed that she couldn't let me attend the wedding because she feared I might overshadow her special day. I called her to ask why she thought that, considering I've never done anything to upset her. Kayla then brought up how she wore all black to our wedding, and now she was afraid I might do the same to hers, which is why she didn't want me there. I was furious at how manipulative she was and immediately told Harry about the conversation. Harry spoke to his parents, and they agreed to tell SIL that they would not be paying for her wedding nor attending it. This left SIL in tears, and she began blaming me for the situation. Harry reminded her that she had admitted her own mistakes, so she had no right to point fingers at me. But Kayla tried to justify her actions, saying that our wedding was a long time ago and I should just move on from it. Later, since Phil and Mill still refused to fund her wedding, Kayla reached out to me, apologizing and begging for my forgiveness. I hate to admit it, but Kayla can be incredibly sweet and convincing when she wants something. I forgave her, hoping we could put the past behind us. Her wedding to Jamie went smoothly, and we all attended and had a good time. But less than 6 months later, Kayla showed up at our door, complaining about her failing marriage. Harry and I let her stay with us for a few days while she vented about her husband. They had issues with getting pregnant, and Kayla was blaming Jamie for everything. I tried to talk to her, but she was adamant that it was all Jamie's fault. When she wasn't complaining about her marriage, she would focus on our lives and make up things that weren't true. For example, I usually go to the gym in the mornings before work. Sometimes, if I'm running late, I'll bring my work clothes, shower afterward, and change into my office attire. Kayla started asking a lot of questions about this routine, wondering why I was taking a shower or why I needed to go to the gym. I didn't think much of it and told her it was to maintain my weight and avoid going to the office sweaty. She would purse her lips, but I didn't let it bother me. Eventually, things seemed to improve between Kayla and Jamie, and she went back to living with him. One weekend, Harry and I had lunch with Mill and Phil, and SIL and Jamie were invited too. We left our son Nate with a babysitter since he usually gets bored during long adult conversations. During lunch, Mo was talking about a friend of hers who had recently gone through a divorce after her husband cheated. She was sharing how the wife took half of his assets. Suddenly, SIL interrupted and asked Harry if we had signed a prenup before getting married. We stopped eating and looked at her, and she spoke as if I wasn't even there, looking directly at Harry. Harry, not one to mince words, told her that since we both had good jobs, we saw no need for a prenup. SIL scoffed and started saying how there are so many cheaters these days, and that Harry could be blindsided at any moment. I took offense to her words and asked her what exactly she was insinuating. SIL then suggested that I was definitely meeting up with someone since I always carried a change of clothes, and as Harry's sister, it was her duty to warn him. I was shocked by her words. Mill and Phil immediately defended us, telling SIL to stop making things up and not to interfere in other people's lives. SIL, not missing a beat, claimed she was just looking out for her brother and then made a comment about whether Nate was really Harry's son, saying he didn't exactly look like him. I saw Harry's face turn red with anger like I've never seen before. He looked SIL straight in the eye and told her that this was exactly why she wasn't a mother. She didn't deserve to be one. He said that her child would be better off in heaven than with someone like her. SIL's mouth hung open in shock. Mill and Phil just stared as Harry let out his anger, calling her a shameless person who was ruining everything because she had nothing good in her own life. He pointed out how she spent her days doing nothing while Jamie worked hard. He went on to say that instead of worrying about our marriage and asking about prenups, she should focus on her own relationship, as it was clear she was projecting. Kayla burst into tears, and when she looked to Jamie for support, he remained silent. I had never seen Harry so angry. In the end, she ran off to the washroom, and Harry was fuming. Mill came over to calm him down while I rubbed his hand. He apologized for what his sister had said about Nate, and I nodded, understanding how frustrating Kayla could be. I was actually glad Harry stood up for me so publicly, as I had endured enough from Kayla over the years. Once Harry calmed down, He apologized to Jamie but completely ignored Kayla. After that lunch, we had no more contact with her. Her behavior was damaging not only to me, but also to Harry. We blocked her from everywhere so she could no longer reach us. Mill and Phil later spoke to us, agreeing that Kayla had gone too far this time. They understood why Harry had snapped after so much of her relentless behavior. It's been a year since we last spoke to her, and life has been much smoother. 2 months ago, I found out I was pregnant. It was a complete surprise, as we weren't even trying. Harry and I are thrilled to welcome another family member, and we decided to reveal the news at Harry's birthday celebration. Mill and Phil planned a big party for him in their backyard. Our close family and friends were invited, and I suspect Sil must have heard about it from others. She decided to show up, much to our surprise. Sil came over, hugged Harry, and expressed how much she had missed him and apologized for their last conversation. Harry took my hand and told his sister that she owed me an apology for questioning my character. Sil turned to me and apologized. She explained that she had been attending therapy for the past few months and had realized how wrong it was for her to treat me that way. I didn't believe a word she said, but I didn't want to make a scene in front of everyone, so I just nodded. Mill and Phil checked on us and reassured us that if we weren't comfortable, they would ask her to leave since this was Harry's party. But Harry didn't want to cause trouble, so we decided to let it go. Throughout the party, I couldn't help but notice how Sil seemed overly positive, which felt out of character for her. But since she mentioned therapy, I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt. When it was time to cut the cake, Harry gave a heartfelt speech about how he considered himself the luckiest man in the world, thankful for another year with a wife like me. His words made me blush with happiness, and I was reminded of how deeply in love we still were, just as we had been when we first started dating years ago. Then, Harry and I decided to share some exciting news. With smiles on our faces, we told everyone that we were expecting a baby. There was a brief moment of silence as everyone processed the news, before the room erupted in happiness. My mother cried and hugged me, while Mill and Phil had tears running down their faces as they congratulated both of us. Everyone was so happy for us, asking if we had thought of baby names. The only one who didn't seem pleased was Sil. She looked taken aback, and I thought she might just need some time to process. But then her expression changed, and she walked away from us, looking angry. I was a little worried she might ruin yet another celebration for us, but got distracted as others came over to congratulate me. When it was time to serve lunch, I got up to help my in-laws with the food, but Rick and my parents insisted I stay seated, telling me I shouldn't lift a finger. I waited patiently for Harry to bring me a plate, but then Sil came up to me, smiling. She handed me a plate of food, loudly announcing that she was personally serving me because she was so happy about my pregnancy. As she handed me the plate, she even mentioned how she wanted to make it up to me for all the rude things she had said to me in the past. I nodded and graciously accepted. She then walked away. As I was about to eat, I noticed that she had put shrimp on my plate. It's well known within my family that I'm highly allergic to shrimp, so I was shocked that Sil would serve it to me. I shook my head in disappointment and got up to get my own food. At that moment, Jamie came over to congratulate me. He asked why I wasn't eating, and I explained how Sil had mistakenly served me shrimp. Jamie told me not to worry, took the plate from me, and said he'd eat it since he liked shrimp, and I could get a new plate. I smiled, nodded, and walked away. Not even 5 minutes later, Jamie started to cough and vomit, causing everyone to stop eating and stare at him. He stumbled to get up from his seat, and Harry and Kayla rushed over. Jamie pointed at his plate, then at his throat, and that's when we realized something was wrong. Jamie fainted, and the room was filled with shock and concern. Kayla ran to check the plate and looked at me, asking if I had given the plate to her husband. I nodded amidst the chaos. Someone called an ambulance, and Jamie was rushed to the hospital. Kayla was crying uncontrollably, shooting me angry looks. Later, we found out that Jamie had been poisoned. I was horrified because I knew the plate was originally meant for me. Harry, Mill, Phil, and my parents don't know about this yet. The police were called to collect the food as evidence, since no one knew what had caused Jamie to faint. As I'm typing this, Jamie is still recovering in the hospital, while Kayla stayed with him overnight. My husband and I have been answering calls from relatives, wondering who could have poisoned Jamie. Mill and Phil are shaken and staying with us, afraid to return to their own home. No one knows how everything turned so wrong after what seemed like a perfect day. I'm terrified to tell everyone that the plate originally belonged to me, and that SIL had served it to me. If this turns into an investigation, I'll have to tell the police the truth. I feel incredibly guilty about what happened, but more than that, I'm now terrified of what SIL might do to me. She clearly has no boundaries when it comes to trying to harm me. I can't be around her, and I can't let my children near her. I regret giving my plate to Jamie, knowing it could have been meant for me and my baby. Update 1. Wow, I never expected to get so many comments in just a few hours. My hands were shaking when I typed this, and I haven't been able to sleep. Despite everything, I do feel somewhat responsible for what happened with Jamie. I should have thrown that plate away, but I don't know why I let him take it from me. I keep crying, thinking about what could have happened to him. Harry knows something's wrong, but doesn't know what I know about his sister. I agree with the comments suggesting I need to talk to everyone calmly. Mill and Phil have security cameras around their house, and since the party was in their backyard, I'm sure the cameras will show that SIL was the one who handed me that plate. I'll talk to everyone tonight and update you all. Update 2. We had a talk, and I'm so grateful to have the best in-laws. Mill and Phil are staying with us, and during dinner, I told them and Harry that I had something important to share. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the situation on my shoulders. With everyone gathered around, I explained what had happened at the birthday party, how SIL had served me a plate with shrimp and how Jamie had unknowingly eaten it, resulting in his poisoning. As I spoke, I could see the shock and disbelief on their faces, which mirrored my own feelings. Mill and Phil exchanged concerned looks, while Harry's expression shifted from confusion to anger. I continued to express my worries about SIL's intentions and her previous attempts to harm me. I admitted that I had hesitated to share this information, fearing the potential consequences for me and our unborn child. Mill, always practical, immediately suggested that we check the security camera footage. Phil nodded in agreement, understanding the gravity of the situation. Harry, visibly upset, remained silent, taking in the shocking revelation. After reviewing the footage from their security cameras, the truth was undeniable. It showed SIL offering me the poisoned plate and the events that followed, leading to Jamie's distress. The evidence left no room for doubt, and the realization hit us all hard. Harry, now fully aware of his sister's malicious actions, struggled to contain his anger. Mill and Phil were appalled by their daughter's behavior, shocked at the lengths she had gone to cause chaos. We sat there in stunned silence, trying to comprehend why she would do something like this. In the aftermath, my in-laws decided to give the footage to the police, as this was a serious matter. Phil and Harry would meet with Jamie once he recovered, since he was the one who needed to press charges against SIL. I have no idea how Jamie will react, and every time I think about how I allowed him to take my plate, I feel a deep sense of guilt. I've been unable to eat or sleep properly, as I'm consumed by worry for him. I'll update you as soon as something significant happens. Update 3. It's been a month since my last update, and I'm finally back with news. I know it's been a while, but I'm pregnant and going through a lot right now. First, my in-laws handed the recording over to the police, and after reviewing the evidence, SIL was arrested. She didn't even deny the charges. She broke down in tears and admitted everything. My husband spoke to Jamie about what had happened, and Jamie was as shocked as any of us. Harry urged him to press charges against SIL, stressing that this was a terrible thing to do. He assured Jamie that, no matter what he decided, he would always be part of our family. In the end, after Jamie recovered, not only did he decide to press charges, but he also filed for divorce. Kayla called Mill and Phil, crying and begging them to forgive her. It turns out she's pregnant herself. She tried to manipulate them into bailing her out, saying they should do it for the sake of their grandchild. Phil firmly told her they were done enabling her and that she needed to take responsibility for her actions. Mill was extremely sad about what was happening to her daughter, but she understood that what Kayla did was unforgivable. The police found clear evidence that SIL had tampered with the food, intending to harm me, which ultimately backfired and affected her husband. She's been charged with multiple offenses related to food tampering, endangering life, and causing harm. She begged Jamie not to press charges, claiming it was all my fault, but thankfully, Jamie wasn't swayed, and he's determined to see justice done. Her court hearing is coming up soon, and I don't think she can escape the consequences this time. As for me and my son, we're doing okay. He has no idea what his aunt has done, and Harry and I have discussed sitting down with him to tell him the truth when the time comes. It's going to be a difficult but necessary conversation. I'm also going for regular ultrasound scans every 2 weeks, as my doctor recommended. We've decided not to find out the gender of the baby and keep it a surprise. My parents know what happened with Kayla and have become very protective of me. They're concerned about the impact this might have on my psychological well-being during my pregnancy, so they've encouraged me to go to therapy. I agree with them. Even though I've been acting normal, I've developed a deep-rooted fear after what happened with Kayla. I'm afraid to eat any food that hasn't been prepared by me. My husband understands my fear and is there to support me every step of the way. Hopefully, I can overcome this irrational fear soon. Update 4. It's been 8 months since I last updated, and I'm happy to report that Kayla is now serving time in prison. She was found guilty of the charges. I never attended her court hearings, but sometimes my in-laws did, and they told me that Kayla admitted in court that she had been jealous of me for years. She never wanted an outsider to marry her brother and always dreamed of one of her best friends marrying him. When he started dating me, she tried to bully me at every opportunity. When we announced our pregnancy during Harry's birthday party, she was filled with jealousy. She had been planning to announce her own pregnancy, but after suffering a miscarriage, she wanted to share her good news. She felt we took away her moment to shine. According to her, her pregnancy hormones made her so angry that she mixed a small amount of rat poison into my food, hoping I would end up in the hospital. She claimed she never intended to hurt me or the baby, but when I gave the plate to Jamie, she felt she deserved a lighter sentence because of the outcome. The judge didn't buy her explanation and sentenced her to prison. Jamie successfully divorced her, and now he's free. We've seen him over the months, and we continue to include him in our family activities whenever we can. He and I have talked, and I've apologized profusely for giving him my poisoned plate. He assured me that it was never my fault, and hearing that made me cry. I keep replaying it in my mind, wishing I could have done things differently. Jamie wasn't poisoned, thank God. I'm so relieved he's doing okay. As for me and Harry, we've welcomed a beautiful baby girl into our family. Despite the lingering shadows of the past, her arrival has brought warmth and light into our lives. Our son Nate is thrilled to become a big brother and showers his little sister with love and affection. Watching our children bond fills our hearts with gratitude. Throughout all of this, my parents and in-laws have been by our side, helping us navigate this new chapter of our lives.